3, 2, 1, action.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Hendrick Hudson Board of Education meeting. Could we please rise for the pledge of allegiance?
And when it is liberty and justice for all.
We're starting the meeting tonight by approving our agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as stated?
I have a motion to make an amendment to the agenda.
Second. All in favor? What's the amendment?
I'd like to move the superintendent's update and cabinet updates to after the policy meetings.
Okay,
Motion. Second.
and all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Point of privilege.
Yes.
Just for the board, nothing out of the ordinary for that, just as returning back to the table here, my computer is updating, so I apologize.
We need to bind.
We
5 more
understand. We
minutes.
understand.
I didn't want to tell jokes because that would, people would turn off the YouTube stream immediately.
So tonight, right now, we start with the hearing of the public on non-agenda items. Is there anyone signed up? No, no, thank you, Linda. We move on to our consent agenda. Does anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda this evening? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
Second. All in favor? We do have a donation tonight. We have 3. The first one is a donation of $5,000 for educational programs for students from the New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital Center has made a $5,000 donation for educational programs for our students. Do I have a motion to approve this donation?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor? Thank you so much for this very generous donation. That's fantastic. Of course.
Just want to echo the thanks to our partners at the New York Presbyterian Hospital, Hudson Valley. We do serve on their advisory board, so we are in constant contact with them. They're a fantastic partner, always partnering, always collaborating with us on other ways that they can support students. A very valued member of our community, not only for the service they provide, but for the presence they have in the community to give back. So Beth Gruber and I attend regular meetings with their advisory committee. And the sole purpose is on how we can give them information so that they can better serve us. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Our second donation tonight is a $1,500 donation for the Hendrick Hudson School District from Richard Simonetti. He has made a $1,500 donation. This donation is made possible through the New York Life Insurance Foundation for the Hendrick Hudson School District. Thank you so much to Richard Simonetti and New York Life Insurance Foundation. This is a wonderful donation for our students.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
And a long time donor.
Long time donor, yes. We're very appreciative of that. The next donation is a donation of $500 to the Barbara Katzenstein School Scholarship Fund for the Office of Special Education has received donations in the amount of $500 to be utilized to pay for a partial summer camp for funding for students with significant handicapping condition. It's another very generous donation for our students. We have a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor? Okay. Now we move to the hearing of the public on agenda items. Is there anyone signed up?
No.
Yeah. We have a presentation and discussion tonight that's open, but I don't think there's anything pressing there. So then we move on to any board comments or new business tonight. It can be made before. Okay, no, like, you should do it now.
Talk about.
Yeah, it's perfect for now. Yeah, that should be now.
Sure. Actually, Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren, and both of you.
So we can both chime in.
Yeah.
Career day. Yeah. I was just telling Erica that, I went to career day at Blue Mountain Middle School yesterday. And, I had tried to do it in 6th grade when my daughter was in 6th, when she was in 7th. And I was away both times, but it worked out this time and it was really a wonderful experience. It felt great to be like, to actually get up and go with my kids to school at the time that they, instead of like kind of pushing them out the door. But it was nice to see everything, that the energy everyone working together, the kids. So many kids that I've been seeing since they were like teensy, saying hello to me in the hall, and they were very respectful, the teachers were super friendly, they gave us a really nice lunch, in the lounge. And, I was just saying, you know, everyone should have the opportunity to like, be embedded in the school for, you know, half a day or whatever, because it really gives you a good perspective on what they do every day, and it was a great experience, so it was well done by the middle school.
Yeah,
Am
I
I-
agree. It was really well organized here. I did it one other time, like 2 years ago when my son was there. The kids all had their different class, presentations they got to choose to attend. It was a mixture of grades in all the classes, so it wasn't just one particular grade we were presenting to. And gave me respect for teachers who have to teach the same lesson over and over every day, because by the 6th time I presented, I was like, I
It
can't
got better
wait
each
for my
time.
time. No, I don't want to hear myself tell the story
Yeah.
again, but the kids liked it, and they had a lot of funny questions and good questions, and they were interested and respectful, like during the presentation, so.
Gives you a new perspective on the job. that-
Yeah, it was really cute. And then they sent like nice thank you emails after, which was nice.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
Thank you both for doing
It's a really
that
nice program.
and sharing it. Yeah, it's a great tradition. I'm so glad we can continue to do it. I just wanted to bring up right now that, and I don't know if Mike is gonna include this in his update, but if you are, that's okay. We're gonna do it twice.
Okay.
Is that our Blue Mountain Middle School students went to Music in the Park? Our band, and they got first place, and it rained on them, but I just wanted to say that that's amazing. Congratulations and, great work. Our high school students.
2 years in a row, they really showed.
Yeah, first Thursday.
Yes, they had, yeah, and then the high school students, I think band, orchestra and chorus go this Friday to Music in the Park. So.
It's just a real reflection on the music instruction, I think, like, is fantastic.
Yes,
At that level in particular, because I don't know the high school yet, but, she's amazing with them.
and then the other thing that I wanted to just mention, was that on May 28th, there's a Triumph induction ceremony for Hendrick Hudson, which is our Music Honor Society. And that night we are having our first induction of our Music Hall of Fame at Hendrick Hudson. And the Hendrick Hudson's art show and awards are the next night, so just wanted to, for the high school. So a lot of fun things coming up, but I think that one of the things we've been talking about, and it was also brought up during the strategic plan conversation, was doing a Music Hall of Fame, because we are so, we have such a rich music program. So when I heard that we were doing this, starting our Music Hall of Fame, I thought that was, a great idea, and to recognize so much of the musical talent we have that has left Hendrick Hudson and then as alumni and then come back, so. I don't know if you had that in your update, I didn't want to steal your thunder.
They're not. I had another music recognition in my update.
Okay.
But I'll save that as a surprise.
Okay,
But it is a good reminder that this is the time of year where we are, while we do celebrate student and staff success throughout the entire year, this is the time of year where it really comes at us. Number of events, multiple events on each night. We'll do our best as a district to update you, but just as an example, we know June 11th is the BOCES Tech Center graduation for our students who attend the Tech Center. There's multiple events. We do our best not to schedule events on the same night. There's only so much real estate. So pay attention to weekly updates from the district office, from the buildings. They should have updates on events that are scheduled. You can always go to our calendar on the website. But it's that time of year where we get to enjoy the wonderful successes of the school year. And it's almost September.
yes. Okay, so then the next item, as long as no one else has anything else, is our policy readings. There are a hefty number of policies tonight, but a good thing is a lot of them were second readings, so we're gonna hopefully get through them quickly, and if anyone has any questions, we get them answered. So we're gonna start with the second reading of revision policy 4321.05, confidentiality and access to individualized education programs, individualized education service programs, and service plans. Motion to waive the reading. Second, all in favor? This one was a legal update, and another one where we updated the process in which we had a printer electronic, and we also changed it to more inclusive language. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve policy number 4321.05.
Second.
On favor? Okay, the next policy is the second reading, policy 4321.01, programs and services for parentally placed non-public school students with disabilities. The Board of Education recognizes its
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor? This one is a new policy, I believe? Yes, it's the brand policy. Anyone have any questions?
I think, I mean, I know we talked about this the last one. This is for those that are placed by parents in some form of a private school and your child has an IEP or any services that the district will help find those services for the child.
Do you have a motion to
Motion
approve?
to approve policy 4321.10.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, the next policy is a second reading of policy 4332, universal pre-kindergarten. When the district
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
all in favor?
Yeah, we talked about this last time. This policy is not really going to be needed for next year as we still have more spots than we have enrolled students. This is for if we ever get to the place where we have more, what that lottery will look like.
This was recommended to us by both the state and our legal
Yes.
counsel.
And transportation, just remember, is not provided. Motion to approve policy 4332.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we have our second reading of policy 4526.1, internet safety. The Board of Education is committed to
Motion
undertaking.
to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
So that this is as straightforward as you can get with what is not allowed on district devices or internet.
Yes, and this is a required policy, but it's also a new policy.
We did go over it with Benita. Motion to approve policy 4526.1.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, our next policy reading is second reading of 4526.1 hyphen R, internet safety regulation. The following rules and
Motion to
regulations.
waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
This is the
Correct.
regulation for the policy we just approved, and it just clearly defines all of the things that are not allowed, violations, filtering definitions of some of the terms that were in the other policy. Motion to approve policy 4526.1R.
Second.
All in favor? Another second reading. This is a revision to policy 5282, concussion management guidelines. In the Hendrick Hudson Central.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
This is another one of those that was not looked at since 2012, so a lot of things have happened with legal as to when a child is able to return. Before, it used to be a certain number of days. Now it needs to be where the child is evaluated by a doctor.
Yes,
And so that would determine when the child is eligible to return, not necessarily just a certain time.
yeah, and this is basically what we did was we took the NICEAD guidelines for concussion management in schools from 2023 and put it into officially added it to the policy.
Motion to approve policy 5282.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, this is our last second reading. Second reading, policy 8113, extreme heat condition days. As required by
Motion
the,
to waive the reading.
Second.
all in favor?
And just a reminder, this is a way for us to keep students in school as opposed to sending them home. So it's just all of the things that we should do in place of those extreme heat days. Yes, the guidelines of everything that you can see laid out in the policy. Yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I dialed into the webinar on the budget last week, and not the NISBA one. And they were talking about this, and somebody asked if there was money to help, and they said no. But then someone said, what if you have to cancel school because of the heat? And you've already used all your snow days. And there was no answer, like that's something
Right.
that hasn't been,
That would be something, I guess, Mike, you would have to contact the state and,
Well, it presents a whole host of issues, so we do have a required number of student instructional days. And at the same time, we also have a contract calendar year with many of our collective bargaining agreements, so we have to be sure that we're monitoring that. We do daily have an update within a template that tells us, are we meeting the total number of instructional days and instructional hours? That's maintained out of the central office, and if we would, at this point in time, we are treating any inclement weather day to include snow closures, heat closures. We would build those into our total number of days that we have. So for instance, this year, in my update, I'll remind everybody that we do not have school next Tuesday because it is a snow day give back in accordance with our teachers' union contract. Because we only used one day. So we did have 4 additional days that we could have used. And we do have built in, I believe, Margaret, 3 days next year if we need to. And they're laid out on our calendar. We go over our snow days, we would pull back from the spring
If we know that before.
if we know that before, right?
right, so if
But now we're-
it's June 21st, and it's 95 degrees, and we've used all our snow days.
We would have to do some, we
Well-
would have to have some conversation with our collective bargaining.
yeah, I would say part of it is, here, right? One of the things is using outdoors.
Yeah.
Hopefully the bond that we had just passed, last year, right, we're trying to improve some air conditioning. And then, I mean, June 25th, hopefully, right, most instruction has ended and it's, you know, then that's where I feel like this allows you to, yeah, no, I know. I'm saying then that's where they're asking you to be a little more creative as making, don't send them home.
Right, like as a last
As,
resort.
yeah, that would be the last resort. And trying to be creative about other places that you could put your students.
We should have rotational, part of the plan is to have rotational areas,
Yes.
cooling areas.
One thing that we have done from a facilities level is Jill, Anthony and I met, I'd say, was it March, early March?
Yeah, about a month ago.
To explore what common area spaces could be used or do we need to improve to have those rotational settings, large common spaces where we can use as cooling centers. So students can rotate through that because that is a mitigation approach that is approved. And so Anthony and his team had identified those spaces in each building. They're confirming with building principals what that might look like. And so Anthony's well postured for that.
And I feel like we need to continue to advocate for this on facilities as we are looking at, you know, any other debt that's coming in, that's retiring. That, you know, future air conditioning or, you know, at least for the central location, so we don't have to send students home.
Because not only are they missing instruction, but we might be sending students home to a more dangerous environment in terms of heat.
Motion to approve policy 8113.
Second, all in favor? Okay, this is first reading policy 4000, student learning standards and instructional guidelines. The Hendrick Hudson School District.
Motion to waive reading.
Second, all in favor? This is a new policy.
Again, the instructional standards are really set by the state, but these are the standards, again, looking at our college and or career readiness. Just plays out,
And this is something that Ms. Buckley wants to learn before.
yes.
Like when you say it's a new policy, it's not.
We don't,
they suggest
we don't, yeah, they suggested it doesn't exist in our policy books, they suggested that we have this. And it is, I mean, it's just spelling out very clearly the standards.
And Margaret and I did review and
Yes.
made some revisions.
Yes, we did. Is this the one we went through no, that was a different one.
That's good.
We changed the paragraph opening. All right,
No, it was this one.
it was this
I
one.
thought
It was this one, yeah. This one, we did change the opening paragraph to match the district's mission.
Mission, yes.
We had from NISBA, now I'm recalling everything we had, they gave us like optional pieces and they said you could incorporate your mission and vision, so we did take that and This way it matches what we are expecting.
And it's also cross-referenced in the, so we don't, it's cross-referenced in the, footer. So if we change the mission statement in the future, all of these are connected and then it will get cleaned up. There's a process in place for that. Okay, so that one we'll bring back. The next one is first reading revision name and number change of policy 4000 to policy 4200 curriculum management. The mission of the Hendrick
Motion to waive the reading.
Second, all in favor?
So again, this one tells us what our mission is, and this is the one that really looks at what the state standards are. I put some in there as well.
I had some suggestions for this one.
Yeah, yes.
And this one, the number was changed, so we did have this one.
We'll just
We're
change
changing
the
the number and then some of the language.
yeah, the whole thing changed. I'm just trying to make sure the links in here work.
And my main recommendations for this was to make sure that our strategic plan was codified, that the current standards are there, so you didn't have to continue to do constant updates when the state standards change. And for the board members' edification, that occurs more than you think. So rather than have to revisit a policy or be out of compliance with policy, we have simply linked where appropriate to existing state standards, which would change as a result of any state efforts.
So the link for the standards works, but the strategic plan, you opened it?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
It takes a second.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Questions? Okay, that leads us to the first reading of a revision and name change to policy 4526 technology acceptable use policy AUP. The Board of Education is
Motion
motion
to waive the reading.
Second.
all in favor?
So this one again was a name change. I feel like OP is one of those words that you're in education, you know, and that is the, as you see, like the user agreement. This is one of those that is suggested, so we did have Anita come in for this one. This is one of those that it was suggested that this policy, a parent reads with their child before they're using, because it lays out how to properly use school devices and school network, so that there's no discrepancies. Like, for example, you're not allowed to log into another student's account and things of those nature that are all laid out, and it just goes through then all the pieces. And like I said, she did suggest that parents are reading this with their child, because also when we get to, there's a letter that we will come up to that parents sign and students sign, agreeing to all of the things that are laid out in this. Yeah,
So annually, I believe parents should be receiving the code of conduct to go over with their children and sign. And then this technology agreement as well.
In parents, where are they receiving?
We'll bring that one back. This is the first reading of policy 4526R, technology acceptable use regulation. Administration, the superintendent of schools.
motion to waive the reading.
Second, all in favor?
So this
These are
is,
the rules.
yeah, this is the regulations, right? This is now really goes into detail what all of the rules are for all of the different pieces laid out again. Anita would suggest that these are read over carefully and that you go over this with your child, so that you know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable on school devices and network.
The one thing, and this is more of a logistical, like readership, making sure that the policies are all connected and interconnected. I know we have the cross-reference for this as 4526 and 4526R. Should the cross-references on the, not the regulation, be part of this as well? Just so it's easier to search and connect. We didn't talk about that.
So
We didn't, but
what, we could do that.
I don't wanna make.
Yeah, I would say that the cross references are for the policy. And
Yeah,
since regulations are specifically reflective of the policy,
we're
and
covered.
would not change if one of the cross references changed, unless the policy that impacted the regulation
Okay.
changed.
So we're covered on that. I'm already thinking about updating policy later. Okay, first, reading policy 8650, school district compliance with copyright law. The Board of Education
Now to
acknowledges.
wait the reading.
Second. All in favor? This is laid, this lays out, you can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just let you know, like, if the district is purchasing something, you can use it within your classroom. As long as it's for instructional purposes, but you can't, certain things that can't be posted on it. So like you can post it to your Google Classroom because that's contained with your students, but you can't post it on like a public website or anything. Everything that is copyrighted has to be there, and also that the district. This part is funky. I don't know if everyone knows this, that when a teacher makes something on the computer device, on the school devices and computer network, it belongs to the school. So it's school owned.
It's copy, yeah, and.
Even if they're creating it on paper or at home for use in the classroom.
Yes.
Any questions on that?
I just not like, I'll just say, like, I know for me, like, when I'm creating something, it automatically belongs to the district, like, when you're on that document. Yeah. That's just policy knowing that it belongs to the school.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know.
This is the first reading of policy 8650, school district compliance with copyright law regulation. No copyright material may be reproduced.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second, all in favor?
This just now lays out in more detail what we just went over. I love that. I will say the original diskette, and we did talk about that with Benita when she was there, that there are still some. That she had to make sure she had computers that still take certain drives and everything, because that they're still, and like, you think diskette, like, so like.
No laser
But
discs,
yeah,
no beta tapes.
It's gets.
diskettes, yeah, we were laughing, we had a little giggle on that when we were doing it. It's like, I haven't heard that word in so long.
Okay, any questions? Okay. So that's another, that may be up to 140 something policies that we've done in 2 years. That's amazing. So,
We're going
Good
for the
job.
record.
good job.
Don't know what
Good
it is.
job, team. Okay, so that brings us to. Are we doing committee reports first? Now we're gonna move to the superintendent's report.
I'm
Okay?
updated.
Perfect.
I'm updated. So,
See that time we bought them.
well, good evening, everyone. Before I get into my update, it's going to be a lengthy one. I'm sorry, I haven't spoken to anybody of this multitude in a couple of weeks. So I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to the Board of Education, our faculty, staff, and to all employees across the district, as well as the broader Hunter-Hudson community. Over the past several weeks, I've been truly moved by the many messages, gestures, and well wishes that came my way during my recent medical leave. Your support meant more than words can fully express, and it's a powerful reminder of the strength and compassion that defines our school community. It's also, I'm very grateful to be back and to once again join the important work that we're doing together. While away, I remain confident in the abilities of our outstanding leadership team assembled here at this table. Dr. Garcia, Jill Figueroa, Chris Moreno, Margaret Roller, Benita Joy, particularly Dr. Roller for her services as acting superintendent. I didn't know if she wanted to close today as a snow day or not, but just to wield the power. In addition, all the committed professionals across every building and department as they continue to advance our shared mission of ensuring that every student is engaged, passionate, and reaching their full potential. As I do return, I return with a sense of renewed purpose and deeper appreciation for the work we do as an educational community. And I look forward to continuing our journey together, listening, learning, helping, and leading. And on behalf of the families, students, families we serve. So thank you again for your kindness, your support, and your unwavering commitment to our schools. A reminder about our snow day give back and Memorial Day weekend. We will not have school on May 26th. And May 27th, May 26th will be our observance of the Memorial Day holiday. And the 27th will be no school for students and staff in accordance with their collective bargaining agreement due to it being a snow day give back for our students. So there will be school on Friday, May 23rd, 2025, and we will send out a parents for a reminder. I believe tomorrow is going out just in case I don't know how many people are watching tonight's meeting, just in case nobody's watching tonight.
No, but it is updated on the district calendar. So
Excellent. Excellent.
good.
We did mention Career Day. I do want to specifically thank Robin DeGrasse and Danielle Sugarman for putting that together. I had every intention of attending yesterday. I just felt that it was more important to get my feet underneath me. But I do look forward to seeing the students as I get back into the building. So thank you to Ms. DeGrasse and Ms. Sugarman for putting that together. If you haven't been paying attention, today is our budget vote, our annual budget vote and board election. So polls are open until 9 p.m. Tonight at the Frank G. Lindsay Elementary School. I encourage all eligible residents who may be listening and not have voted yet to participate in the electoral process, as this is one of our most important ways we can model civic responsibility for our students. Thank you to everyone who has already cast their vote and to those who will take part in the vote before the polls close. Want to spend a special thank you to Ms. Carmen Koch, our district clerk, who is not with us tonight. So we are joined by Ms. Linda Cohen-Stumer as our district clerk while Carmen runs the vote. It is a Herculean process in terms of logistics to make that vote happen, and Carmen makes it look easy as well as with all those who support her. So we thank our community members who are and employees who are working as poll workers to allow this to go off smoothly. May is a huge month for recognition, so I have a couple of those to.
I love it.
So May is actually National Speech and Language Hearing Month. We join school districts across the country, recognizing National Speech and Language Hearing Month as an annual observance that brings attention the importance of communication health and the professionals of those who support that. Here in Hendrick-Hudson, we are proud to recognize the outstanding work of our speech language pathologists. These dedicated individuals provide critical services to our students, helping them overcome communication challenges, access academic content, build social emotional skills, and reach their full potential. The impact of their work is often behind the scenes, but the importance is front and center for the students and the families that they serve. So we want to take this moment to publicly thank our speech therapists for their expertise, compassion, and unwavering commitment. I also encourage our entire family, our faculty, staff, and community to join me in recognizing and celebrating their contributions, not just during the month of May, but throughout the year, as their work is a vital part of our mission to ensure all students are supported and empowered. Earlier this month, I communicated to our staff regarding Teacher Appreciation Week, but I was remiss in that I did not recognize School Nurses Day, which was celebrated on while I was out on medical leave on May 8th, I believe. Our school nurses are essential partners, as we know, of the Hendrick-Hudson team, providing not only medical expert care, but also calm, compassion, and consistent support of our students every single day, whether they're managing daily health needs, responding to emergencies when they arrive, or serving as a reassuring presence for a child who simply needs a moment of comfort. We deeply appreciate the contributions of our school nurses. This past year has once again highlighted how vital their roles are in supporting both the physical and emotional well-being of our school communities. And on behalf of the Board of Education and the entire district, I want to thank them for our incredible nurses for all they do. We mentioned earlier that we approved update to our acceptable use policy. I did want to take a moment to provide an important update regarding new legislation that was signed into law by Governor Hochul on May 9th. That will impact our operations, not only in Hendrick-Hudson, but across New York State, beginning with the 2025-2026 school year. Since then, it's almost September. There is a new law that will prohibit the student use of personally owned internet-enabled devices, including smartphones, tablets, and some smartwatches through the entire school day, including lunch and recess. School-issued devices, such as the Chromebooks that we provide our students for educational purposes, they will be exempt. Key requirements associated with that is that we as a school district must publish a written policy by August 1st. So we will be bringing that to the already enormous policy work that our board is doing. The policy must outline how parents can contact students during the day, provide for on-site storage, and specify any allowable exceptions for our students. Those exceptions might include educational purposes, emergency medical needs. We do have some students who may be connected to a Wi-Fi enabled blood glucose monitor as an example. So that would be an exception. We also provide translation services often with personal devices. There may be legal obligations and any accommodations outlined in the student's IEP or 504. And that policy that we adopt must be made available online and translated into home languages for our parents. We also in September have a requirement to report annually to the state on the enforcement of this policy and the demographic impacts. Don't necessarily know what that means yet, but we're eagerly awaiting updates from the state. Most notably, we have to report suspension regarding this. However, it cannot be the sole disciplinary response to violations. So we cannot simply suspend a student for having their internet connected device with them. We also have to provide annual notices to our parents upon enrollment of a student, informing new enrolled families how they can reach their children during the school day. So what have we done so far? Because this is a quick timeline. We've requested sample policies from Erie One BOCES and NISBA for Board of Education Policy Subcommittee review. I have asked our administrative team to place this topic, soliciting feedback and input on anything that we might use to inform a policy on our upcoming site-based teams and any student advisory committees they may have, so we can gather feedback from staff, parents, and students. We will be discussing this topic at upcoming meetings with our union leadership colleagues, and also we will talk about it at our district shared decision-making committee. Additionally, we've reached out to regional superintendent groups and our legislative liaisons. PNW BOCES has informed us that at this time, shocker here, New York State Education Department does not plan to issue further guidance on the implementation of this law. So we will be probably working through our legal counsel and our elected legislature. So timeline is tight. As we said, the policy must be adopted in August. The ban goes into effect in September. And as you can see, the implications of this policy are significant. For example, we have a bring your own device policy at the high school. We've reached out to legal counsel to ask if that can be exempt, because if not, that will have a financial implication on a number of devices we may have to purchase for our students next year. This is why it's apropos. Just wanted to say that today. I didn't think I would fit it in on our budget when we say that the community votes on a total amount, not the specific line items. Those line items may need to change. This was something we did not anticipate, that we would have to maybe provide additional computer devices for students. So we'll continue to keep the board and community informed as we move forward in development of the policy and also ensure full compliance with the new requirements.
Can I ask a question before we move on to the next thing? So I've been on multiple NISBA calls and trainings for this. And one of when I asked we asked a lot of questions. It was with the state, the Senate was there, the governor's office was there, NYSEG was there. It seemed as if they had all the guidelines already thought of, like what happens if you have a special education student that needs a phone? What if your child needs a phone as a medical device? It sounded like they had all of that. I will tell you, it sounded like they thought of everything. And I'm hoping that's the case when we receive the policy, because it should literally be all in the law. But I felt better after hearing that they had thought through all of these things, because I think that's a big burden. It's burden enough on the district, but that was, hopefully when we get it, it's very clear. So I think the hardest part will be the discipline piece.
Yes, so that's one of the benefits of having an active board in policy development, and also attend some of those opportunities that our partners provide, because we inform them. Oftentimes the state, when they respond to concerns about loss of local control, they'll say, well, you can develop a policy in accordance with the regulation. And so we oftentimes rely on what is being done in other districts or at the state level through NISBA or.
Everyone's going through this at the same time, so I think that's the other interesting parts, like we're like just trying to figure it all out.
There are other states, right, that have done it before?
We're the biggest, we're gonna be the first, the largest.
Really?
With the one.
I heard.
Maybe counties, but I think we're gonna be the biggest, the first statewide is what I had thought.
In the guidelines that you were, because they didn't, on the call that I was on, they talked about, the districts that don't have money to purchase like lock boxes and things for, the recommendation is to have the phones kept in the kids' lockers. Cause you were saying,
You don't use really, the kids
Right.
don't really use lockers, they
Right,
might have to.
Right,
We're gonna have,
So,
we're gonna
so
have
there's a
to
lot
all
of
of
discussion,
it.
right? There's a lot of discussion. We still need clarification. There are some colleagues who have brought the subject up. If it's a ban, then it's a ban, the device should not come to school. That's how some interpretation of this is going. So that's why
like,
it's good.
but the ban, it doesn't say that it's on the bus or the.
No, it's just,
it fell within the school,
Right.
Right.
the school day.
So
And that includes, aside from just cell phones, that includes like any internet connected device,
Right.
that could be the AirPods, the Apple Watches. any of, those are just the popular ones I
And
can.
I don't think you can tell people out of school to not. But
They can just leave it even at the high school in the backpack. And just not pick it up.
Oh, I mean, I don't know, we're gonna talk about,
we have
we're gonna
to-
figure all of this out.
How would you know?
And we, and the other thing was,
Like, they just, if
How
there's.
would you know?
So it sounds like,
Pick it out.
the board is exploring what the concerns we had. How do we administer this?
the same.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, this is, I think, one of our, gonna be the biggest concerns, how you administer it, how do you make sure it's productive? I didn't mean to derail your superintendent's report, but I think it's really important for us to
Meant to
have-
be derailed.
it's important for us to hear the feedback of everybody before we go in to discuss this as a policy, but I think also my parents are, we're gonna have to give a lot of information to parents where we invite them in.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say,
have
this was,
Mike,
the thing said
do you
too,
plan on doing that?
well, it said we had to get feedback from parents, like all the stakeholders, so it's not to be made in isolation, but it did say in that thing from Governor Hochul that you had to include. You had to talk to all of them, to this, all the stakeholders, so that we're not just, like, it's not just us coming down and saying, you have to do this or this, like, it's. We're gonna, this way you can get all the ears, right, of everything that is happening, everyone's perspective, and then come up with a.
So this again is a tight turnaround. That's why we look to see where do we have most established connection with stakeholders. And that is, of course, the effort that the district has put into shared decision-making groups. But anybody who's tuning in right now, and I'll put this in my weekly updates as well, if you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to email me, and we can consider that in your policy. I don't know if the based form is going to be helpful, something I'm willing to explore. I just know that at this time of year, everybody's calendar is full of events.
Well, the only thing I'm gonna, just to put it on the record, one of the great things about policy, we could always adjust policy.
Correct.
So if something is not working for us, or we feel like we have to go out to the community again in September, October to get, educate them and get it, maybe we could always adjust it, right?
Correct. And another way for stakeholders to have input is they can come during the policy reading,
Yes.
and we do have, we can look to do a thought exchange. Those are all things we can do.
Okay. Thank you.
Leading into the next topic of how our board members are active in advocacy and active in ensuring that they are aware of what's coming down the pike. I forgot my homework tonight. I do have certificates for this next part. They're on my desk waiting to be grabbed and brought up here. So by the next meeting, or at the next meeting, I will make sure that I provide certificates, because we have 3 members of our Board of Education who have been honored by the New York State School Boards Association for their commitment to ongoing professional development and leadership. And I say thank you to the individuals we are about to recognize for modeling to our students that we are lifelong learners here at Henry Hudson. So Board President Erica Mills, Trustee Lauren Stanko, and Trustee Corey Boudin have been recognized for modeling the values of lifelong learning and continuous growth. At the same time, the values we strive to instill our students in every day. So they've been recognized for their leadership in their roles as board trustees, and also earning a certain number of, I believe it's 75 professional development hours this past year in NISBA provided professional learning opportunities.
So I wanna take a
You're
moment.
highly paid for those opportunities.
Yes,
too.
I just wanna,
Very lucrative.
I really wanna take a moment though, honestly, and I wanna say this, and this is my 3rd year on the board, but Lauren and Corey, thank you so much for your commitment to learning and putting your time and effort in to understand the process. It makes us more whole as a board to have such well-trained board members. It goes a long way in the community. And I just wanted to take a moment and just let you know that, be proud. It's not just sitting there on all these calls and, going to the conventions, and it's, we all put our time in, but that's a, as first-year board members, that's a big commitment, so.
I'd say that Lauren and I, when we text each other now, we know a little bit more than we did at the beginning. We have less, like, I have no idea what they're saying.
So thank you.
And you have fancy certificates coming
And I
in.
thank you for helping us learn,
Yeah.
because you answer a lot of our questions. So I'm
Anytime.
very appreciative of that.
So I apologize for not having the certificates.
We'll see you again soon.
Yes, keeping up with acronyms, we have NISBA recognitions for one of our staff members in the music education area, Mr. Nate Wardlaw, who currently serves as a music educator at Furnace Woods, has been honored with a memorandum of appreciation from the New York State School Music Association for his service as an adjudicator at a recent piano festival, where he provides feedback to individuals who are looking to advance through that awards-based process. He provided thoughtful feedback to over 50 young pianists. He was specifically recognized not only for his musical expertise, but for the kindness, encouragement, and positivity he brought to the experience, which helped foster growth and confidence among aspiring musicians, not only our own, but those from around the region. We are proud to have Mr. Wardlaw as part of the Hendrick Hudson family and grateful for the impact that he continues to make on students and both within and beyond our district. And I want to thank NISMA's own representative, our very own fellow Hendrick Hudson Central School District music educator, Kimberly Duncan, for taking the time to recognize Mr. Wardlaw. So thank you to Mr. Wardlaw.
Thank you.
There are no questions requiring follow-up at this time, and even though it is still light out, my children, if they're watching, should go to bed. And I will now ask Dr. Stephen Garcia, our Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources and Leadership Development, to provide his report to the Board of Education.
So, good evening. So I know at the next board meeting, we're going to recognize our retirees. So looking forward to that, in early June. We have obviously been involved with a lot of hiring and reviewing of candidates, and I want to thank all the stakeholder groups, specifically the members of the community who are involved with the Director of PE Health and Athletic Search. We actually did after the screenings, stakeholder interviews 2 weeks ago. Ms. Trombley and the cabinet will be meeting with 4 highly qualified candidates this week, Thursday. And then next week, we're going to be meeting with our semifinalists for middle school principal. And we'd like to thank all the stakeholders who are involved with that search last week. So it has been busy. And we know that the Hendrick Hudson High School principal search is ongoing, and the posting will close in 2 weeks. And we'll be formulating the same process, meeting with stakeholders. I already met with students for that one. I know that I'm meeting with teachers in a couple of weeks, and we'll be doing some focus groups with parents also in 2 weeks. So we are well on our way. Successfully, I think we appointed the assistant superintendent for curriculum, and tonight I believe that we appointed the superintendent for business, and we are also in the search, obviously, for teachers and openings, so we'll have some more postings upcoming as well. So it is that season, but I think it's gone rather well at this point.
Thank you for all the work that you have done, Dr. Garcia, is organizing the complex process by both bringing in stakeholders, but also knowing that when people interview at Hendrick Hudson, they're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing them. So we want the process to be professional and supportive, and that is a hallmark of your efforts.
Thank you. I just want to also, I mean, specifically community members and teachers and sometimes students in those committees have been, I think, representing the district very well.
Thank you. And we look forward to formally recognizing our new assistant superintendent for business, Kimberly Roaring, at an upcoming meeting, so we can introduce her to the community. So thank you, Dr. Garcia. I'll now ask Ms. Jill Frigarella, our interim assistant superintendent for business, at the end of her busy season to provide her update on our business and finance operations.
So I'll correct you, it's not the end of the busy season.
I'm sorry.
It's ongoing because we have, 2 new audits coming up over the summer, and we're preparing for the end of the school year, so it gets pretty busy in the district office over the summer. We met with internal auditors today and began the risk assessment process for 25-26. We actually are already we have the 24-25 one in process, so that's our technology or NIST audit, and Beneath has been working on that with them. Happy to report our bus fleet received a service rating of 97.58. By the state, and that's thank you to our mechanics. We have 3 strong dedicated mechanics at our garage who, take a lot of pride in safety for our students. So I want to thank them and their leader, Mr. Anthony Molini, for making that happen. And again, it's the end of the school year. We've begun preparing for all of that work that has to be done over the summer to start the new school year. It's almost September.
It is almost. Thank you, Jill. I'll now ask Mr. Christopher Moreno, our acting director of People Personnel, to provide his update.
Thank you.
So we are still looking for our indicator 8 parent surveys. We're around 80% of our target response rate that was set by New York State. It's very important that we get those in, not only to meet our requirement, but also to inform our practices at PPS. So I ask any parent who has received that, or any parent of a classified student, to please reach out if they need assistance in filling that out. These are completely anonymous. We just get the results from New York State, so it really is just to inform practice. Dr. Aaron Kleiman, the Director of Guidance, asked me to share that the vast majority of tech applications should be in by May 31st, and they're coming in rolling now. So if your student put one in, we will hopefully have that by the end of the month. And then tomorrow at SEPTA, we will be highlighting our mental health department and many of the great things that they do each day. And then finally, our CSD season is wrapping up, hopefully very soon. And that'll bring us right into our extended school year planning and programming for our students.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. Just to add on to the tech center application and enrollment. It's in the past, the tech center has not had the enrollment that it's had in recent years. That's both a testament to the programs that they provide and an understanding that careers in the technical fields are valuable and prosperous and rewarding for many of our students. So BOCES has limited space, and PMW BOCES is our home BOCES, and they have the crown jewel, in my opinion, of the technical programs within our region. But they are running out of space because of their enrollment. For BOCES to engage in a capital project, it's much more complex than our board in our district seeking to do a capital project. So ours is quite complex. Theirs is even more complex, requiring districts, their component districts to weigh in on a proposed capital project. So
Would it be all of Westchester County and all of Putnam County to vote on
it
something
would
like that?
just be their component districts.
Okay,
So.
so just the 18 or
The
whatever.
19 component districts of Putnam and Westchester. So they are not at the point where they think they need to go to a capital project because it would be an expensive venture. So they are looking at purchasing new properties. They're always looking to partner with school districts for available space. So I commend Neil Boyle and his leadership team for thinking creatively. They're also looking to partner. We have also opened up opportunities with other BOCES such as Southern Westchester BOCES, who is helping us meet that demand. So it may not be what we have seen in the past in terms of enrollment, but we will work to try to place every student who is eligible and has a desire to attend one of those programs. We work, Dr. Kleiman, Mr. Moreno, and the entire PPS office last year worked with the high school to ensure that we could try to get everybody placed who wanted to, but there may be some instances where we aren't able to do that. So just informing the community of that and the board. So thank you, Chris. And I'll now ask Dr. Margaret Roller, our executive director for curriculum instruction, and who also served as the acting superintendent in my absence, to give her update.
Yes, it was a pleasure going in. We have a wonderful team at district office, so lots of support from everyone, and I appreciate that, and of course from the board, so thank you. So curriculum, we are rolling through testing season. We are just about through with 3 through 8. I think we had a handful of makeups. Nice and Slide is coming to an end, and APs, and now we will open the door after Memorial Day to Regents time. And of course, finals for middle school and high school students. Benchmarking for our elementary students begins when we return from Memorial Day. That's about a 2.5 week window. And then that information obviously is used to help us contemplate what September would look like. Which children still need support, which children can we celebrate moving on. The early release day was transition conversations and also placement at the elementary buildings. We are in full swing, a little bit like Jill. We're closing down a year and preparing to open the next year. So looking at what will continue and making sure that those conversations are set in place for that work to pick up again, in some cases happening over the summer. As Dr. Garcia mentioned, you all know Lauren Scollins, the high school principal, will be taking my position when I exit. And so Lauren has begun transition in my office. She's been invited to all of the meetings that we're going to, meeting the key players, especially at elementary, which is the division she hasn't been a part of so much. Most of her work here has been at secondary. So she's been attending those meetings, big or small, to make sure that she's informed of where that work will move as we move forward. What else can we say? UPK is rolling along. We have really very decent enrollment. I think we're 77 today, which it almost is where we are right now. So you're listening and you're registering your children. Thank you.
And we have, now 7 people are watching, 6 people are watching now. It was 2,
Yeah.
so that was during my.
It's the UPK.
So yes,
A reminder that
That's right.
we are required by New York State to survey our UPK parents annually, and that survey is out, has been out for a while, a couple of weeks. It closes on Friday. I sent a reminder today to encourage folks to please share their feedback with us. And then what happens is we'll sort that by location. It's anonymous. We don't track anyone's emails, and then provide that to the directors so that they can review the feedback that they received. That's screening for those children who are rolling into our kindergarten programs is taking place, as is screening for the incoming kindergarten students who have not been part of our UPK program. So everyone is really, busy, just dotting the i's, crossing the t's, making sure that, anything we wanted for next year has already been approved. We had curriculum committee had its last meeting last week. And we approved as a group the summer curriculum requests that were in front of us. We had an interesting collection of requests, mostly around the science standards, which have now hit high school. And so they're doing fast and furious work to revisit their curriculum, look at new textbooks, prepare for PD in different courses. And then we have some work around the elementary reading program. Large number of teachers getting together to do some refinement to the writing curriculum. So interesting work, and it was good to put that in front of the group and sign off on some things, and look forward to what's coming in the fall.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. And just as a reminder, if your child is enrolled in a UPK program, they are automatically rolled over into our kindergarten registration. But if you have any changes that you want to update us, just reach out. And we're still in early conversations about possible summer programs that we would help facilitate with the Y.
So the Y has changed their mind.
Okay.
And they don't think it would be feasible for them to have anything at BB this year.
Okay.
But certainly they have enough information now to plan for the
possible
following
future.
summer. So we look forward to that. We will have a summer ENL program at BV. Those notices and phone calls went home this week, thanks to our ENL teachers who are on top of that.
Thank you, Dr. Rowe.
Yeah.
Busy time here in the curriculum office as well. So at this point in time, that concludes the superintendent and cabinet update.
And that brings us to our consent and our committee reports. Anyone have any consent committee reports? Lauren and I Lauren and I had curriculum and instruction meeting with the team, the staff, Dr. Roller. We had the 2 official new programs that went through the committee or are ready to go, I think, right, Dr. Roller? Heritage Spanish, was approved at this point, right? Get back to you, and
With some minor adjustments.
and then the Drums Alive course at K2. So the committee is, had a lot of great conversations in that group. There's parents and teachers and.
What's the Heritage Spanish?
Heritage Spanish.
What is that?
Do you wanna explain it? It's actually amazing. She can.
It is, and Erica knows a lot about this, but she also brought us a program from another district. So Heritage Spanish is intended for students who are already Spanish speakers. And sometimes when children are Spanish speakers in their homes, doesn't mean that they have been fully developed in the language. So they may indeed not be readers or writers. Speaking and listening are the easy modalities. So that is a way of enriching them without having them go through some basic, verbs and nouns. They already understand that. So we've been talking about this in the district for a very long time, and thrilled that we're finally getting it off the ground. There is this fall, it will be Heritage 9 and 10 at the high school. I think it will quickly need to be followed up at the middle school. And they're aware of that.
Of course.
Ms. Collins she had shared with us that she had 2 full classrooms, children, maybe more. And we have the FTEs, like the staff
Yes.
already on hand. So it will just roll over. And I think the other part about this that I thought was great was that in 11th grade, they're like almost on a level playing field now when they get to Spanish 4 or 5. So they will come back together at that point.
Yeah, so
And then
it's an opportunity.
The Drums Alive program, which we did present during our curriculum,
Yes,
I think we approved that, that's going through, but that's actually qualifies as PE for our K2 students. Does it bring us almost to mandate on the time?
it may, because we're also allowed to use our SEL minutes, so
Yeah.
we have to look and see how it adds up. The intermediate grades have a different
Yes,
requirement as well. But that was a very interesting, I thank the music staff for bringing that to us, because it is, Lauren Morvito, who's the IL for music, did a great presentation at curriculum committee with some video, and it was, it was so enticing to see the kids have the movement and that opportunity. So I think that was an easy sell. It was just a question of, getting it approved, making sure that she put everything that we needed, and then of course Mike needed to sign off on, so.
And the other big piece of the conversation, other than, they're working on all different things with AI, making sure there's training, and we talked a little bit about the PD up around all of that. Was the math committee. They spent a lot of time this year, our staff, working together on a K-12 math committee to kind of pull together. We learned how they pulled together the different ideas to try to connect our curriculum, K-5 to 5-8, 5-6, and then 8 to 9, and they explained it with very extensive conversation. I think the end result of that is a potentially elementary curriculum, but I don't know where we.
Potentially, there's more work to be done. I think what would be best practice is that there is a task force or committee
Yes.
that is convened to begin to look at having more teacher voice in some of the decisions that need to be made as a result of that review, to see how that may look to roll out.
Yeah.
And that's planned for next year, so I think Michelle did a good job of explaining that there will be a K-5 standing committee that will include more members that were on the original K-12. And then there is the desire to maintain that 4-7 conversation, so the transition is making sense for kids. And then there'll probably be a little bit of work around algebra at the 8th grade and the 9th grade. Continuing, vertical conversations are important, and they're the last thing that gets scheduled. But this work this year, I think, has gone very well. Sharon Foreman will be back to work with the middle school folks and as Michelle's partner. But I think it was an interesting year of reflection and, examination of what could be, and, leaves possibilities for us.
So we're getting, that was really the main crux of that meeting. I always think it's important to bring everyone up to speed on those things, although they're not we don't make the decisions in those areas. I think it's important to, we're part of, focus on instruction and all of these things. And I think it's always, when you bring teachers together, with or without us or parents or whatever, they come up with great ideas and different thoughts here. They have so many great ideas and thoughts, so it's nice to just get in that committee, just get a small piece of what that looks like. Yeah.
I've learned over the years, and I'm sure Steve in his role and Margaret in her role can attest that we often don't provide enough time for teachers to simply brainstorm, talk, and plan. I'm sure Chris has seen it too. And when that time is there, good things can happen, and often structures support that, but even just time for them to talk and plan is very powerful.
I think we saw that a lot too in the PD committee,
Yeah.
where they talked about just having one of their fellow teachers do the PD program instead of it being someone else, because they feel like they can freely talk and kind of bounce ideas off of each other while they're all there. And there's a level of comfort, so it's easier, I guess, for them, instead of just going to something and trying to learn it, so,
And they know their students, right? So they know the students that they're trying to serve.
you know.
That's always like one of the hardest things when you go to a PD, there's sometimes these great ideas. But it might not benefit the students that are in your classroom.
So can you get one?
Okay.
Was
Can I
it?
do it? Motion to adjourn the meeting? Oh, sorry.
I was just about safety also last week,
Sorry.
but one of the things I spoke about, the situation with the heat, so.
Perfect.
Everyone's talking.
The
Yeah.
board should be presented with updated district-wide and building safety plans for review and approval. Of course, the building safety plans are confidential. The board can't schedule time to review them in a confidential manner once we're ready to present those.